right, 9 minutes before 10 o'clock. Yeah, there's one thing that makes us strong, and it's when we decide that whatever anybody does, we're just going to be indivisible. I love the title of our next book, and the next book is also number one on Amazon. Let's see. It's got 5-star ratings. It's called We Are Indivisible. And we're going to speak to the author right now. Leah Greenberg is the author. She's an anti-human trafficking policy advocate. Oh, my gosh. So am I. So are you. So are most people, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully. She's the co-executive director of Indivisible, co-leading a national staff supporting the Indivisible movement in advocacy, elections, and grassroots organizing. She was named to Time Magazine's 100 most influential people. Wow.
Nice.
I can't even say anything. I don't even think I'm the 1 millionth most. I wonder what number I am. Leah Greenberg, what an honor. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to be here.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I am calling in from New York right now.
How's New York? I miss New York. How is it doing?
It's cold. It's cold right now.
See, you think I want to be here, but I want to be there right now. They lit the tree last night, right?
I think they did, yeah.
You think they did? Uh-oh. We got to get you in the Christmas spirit. So yeah, I love what you're saying. In the part of the book that I read, I honestly haven't read the whole thing, but I'm so glad you're on the phone to talk to us about it. Tell me what you are saying in the book.
Well, so we wrote this book because we are a movement of we're a movement of folks who got active to resist Donald Trump. But we also recognize as we're doing that resistance that Donald Trump is a symptom of a deeper problem. If we had a healthy democratic society, we would have rejected Donald Trump the same way that a body rejects a virus. And that didn't happen. And so we got to confront the fact that our democracy is really sick, and we got to take on those root causes and heal our democracy.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to.
It's about how we do that.
Okay, I have to disagree with you. I think our democracy is wonderfully healthy. I don't necessarily agree with everything Trump is doing. I mean, that part I can understand. But everything is democratic in this country. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, what I would say is that in a healthy democracy, you vote for policies, and then somebody gets elected and they pass those policies, and then you actually have a change in your life. And the reality is that our political system is just not set up right now to actually deliver meaningful political change. I'm 33. There has been one period in my entire lifetime when there have been major progressive reforms. It was a 6-month window of time between in 2009 and 2010 when President Obama had 60 votes in the Senate and a House majority. Is it any wonder that young people are looking at the federal government and they're saying, climate change is getting worse, gun violence is getting worse, we desperately need immigration reform. There is no action at the federal level on any of our most pressing problems. Why would they have faith that voting in the next election would matter for them? So that's one problem.
But isn't every person serving in our government elected there democratically?
Well, yes. I mean, we're not saying that they aren't elected, but we are saying that there are a lot of ways in which the rules are set up to lock out people's voices and to make that representative democracy less functional and less representative. Take voter suppression. In states all over the country, voter suppression is locking people out of the political process, and it's ensuring that the people who are represented are who are elected are being systematically less representative of the overall population.
How? But how are
gerrymandering?
But how are? Okay, gerrymandering I get, and we have our share of that in Florida. But
yeah, you do.
I think we have two districts that you could argue are gerrymandered. I don't know that the rest are. So, but other than that, I mean, voting, we have early voting. Voting is available for everybody.
Voting by mail.
Yeah.
Well, Florida is the site of a recent effort to re-enfranchise a whole set of folks, right? So folks who are formerly incarcerated, who paid their debt to society. And, there is an effort by the Florida governor and Florida Republicans to make that impossible. What we would say is that in a healthy society, everyone can vote. Everyone has a voice in our democratic systems. And there has been a multi-decade effort, and it goes back all the way to the Voting Rights Act, to keep some people from voting in our country. And we see that all over. We see that in Georgia. We see that in Texas. We see that with Native American folks in all over the country. What we see is that there is a concerted effort to stop people, largely people of color, from voting.
But how? I don't. Okay, you're going to have to explain this one to me, because I don't. Yeah, when election day comes around, we're all aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it stopping anybody? I don't understand.
Sure. Well, it's everything from voter ID laws, which are intended to be extra restrictions on people's constitutional ability to vote, to underfunding polling places in communities of color, so that, you know, when I go to vote in my neighborhood, which is wealthy and largely white, I've got no line. And when somebody is going to vote in an African American neighborhood, they're going to have to wait 5 hours in order to vote. These are things that are being done.
Where's that? New York?
Of course.
Oh, you mean in New York you have that circumstance?
You have 5-hour waiting lines in New York?
So that has happened in places like North Carolina, in South Carolina, in all over the country. That is actually a relatively common occurrence. Now, and then it's also stuff like purging the voter rolls. So if you look at Georgia, at the most recent gubernatorial election, hundreds of thousands of voters, largely African American voters, were purged from the voter rolls by the same guy who was actually running for governor of Georgia. So basically, he was literally choosing which people would be allowed to vote.
Oh, wow. Well, he's doing that. Yeah, obvious. That is a horrible thing. And shouldn't he be in jail for doing that?
Well, you know, if we had a really functioning system of checks and balances, there would have been an intervention. But what he successfully did was he rigged the rules in advance of his own election, and now he's the governor of Georgia. But
he purged? I'm trying to understand. You mean he removed people's names from the... So then when they went to vote, the voting person said, you're not on the list?
They were not on the roll.
Oh, my gosh. What's his name? What's the governor's name that did that?
That's Governor Brian Kemp, and you can actually follow the work of. So he was running against a really inspirational candidate, Stacey Abrams.
We spoke to her.
Would have been.
We interviewed her. She was
well,
amazing.
You know as much as I do.
She's amazing.
Well, so she should be the governor of Georgia, and she's not because of voter suppression, largely voter suppression targeting communities of color. And, you know, that's not an isolated experience. That is actually a pretty common experience across the country. She just happens to be able to really call attention to it.
So in a quick look, it says Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp faces investigation by House panel. So he is in trouble for doing that. So,
you know, he's been governor for a year now, and he is happily passing legislation. And with that, his governorship, they have successfully rolled back abortion regulations in Georgia. They are moving to attack the Affordable Care Act.
Well, that's horrible.
All kinds of damaging legislation is moving. It does not necessarily have popular support.
Well, see, there's some parts of what you say that I honestly, as much as I respect what you do and I love what you stand for, but I don't know that I agree with everything. But the bottom line is we are indivisible, and we should be. I would hope that the gerrymandering, we got 2 counties. One is right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Not counties, but districts.
District, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, Leah, thank you for being on the show. I found the book on Amazon. You are #1, by the way, so that's always good. Do you have a website you'd like to direct us to?
Sure. Folks who are interested in getting politically involved can go to indivisible.org, sign up for our alerts, which help you know when and how to call Congress, and to books.indivisible.org to learn more about the book.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show, Leah.
Thanks. Great.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Lillian Wu. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi giving the green light to impeachment against President Trump.
Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment,
accusing the president of actions which have seriously violated